Hello and welcome. In 2019 I recorded a training day at KDF Manchester. The guys were training with all manner of weapons including Sabre. In this video I'm chatting with Phillip Windslow, a passionate Sabre enthusiast from Manchester Historical Fencing Club. This review video is not a critical assessment of individual fencers, but is hopefully an informative and discussion prompting look at sparring techniques and training practices. So let's jump into the review.
So if we have a little watch, the benefit of a curvy sword, you can stab people around a corner, can't you? See, curvy swords are the best. But you need to not go straight in with the curvy side. So this fella, he makes a thrust, but he does it straight away with the curve of the blade. So it doesn't quite work because it could be seen coming.
So where's the true edge? Is it on the outside or inside? It's on the out.
Pointing to his outside, yes.
So he's stabbing like that, thrust to the torso.
Yes.
Okay. Should we keep Liam with A? So green jacket is A and black jacket is B.
Yeah. Always test and go into engaging guard. And then wait for the person in the engaging guard to give up. So B has just tried to make a thrust at A using the curve of the blade. So he's got the true edge of the blade pointing to the outside and has tried to thrust at him. It's a nice trick, but you need to do something to get it in place first. You need to sort of cut in with the true edge, like a cut one, and then as it connects, as your opponent blocks it, then switch around to the curve, just to go around the block. If you do it straight up, we'll just move the block further to push you out of the way.
Let's just watch that one once more then. Does A look uncomfortable with, because he's got his left arm, well into his lower back? Is it restricting his movement?
I don't know. I always quite like keeping my hand out of the way because I'm guaranteed to
get sniped.
Guaranteed to do something stupid like try and use it to block. Okay.
So we've actually gone past it there, haven't we?
Yeah. So you see there, Liam's starting to, he's withdrawing the front foot. But he withdrew a little further and then had to chase his opponent down afterwards there. Heading towards the walls. Oh, we didn't get out of the way in time there.
I was being a gentleman.
Most important, always check what your opponent's okay with and what they're not. If you accidentally whack them somewhere you realise isn't padding.
I'm actually just going to pause at that one point. So do you wear full protective equipment, box, thigh guards, shin guards?
Or as much or as little as you feel safe doing and your opponent is happy with. So normally, lid and gloves, back head protector is definite. I've taken to wearing a gorget as well because the other Phil at our club is very good at longsword. He did a very good thrust that got me straight in the neck. And after that, I went out and purchased a gorget.
Right.
But yeah, I have to say for legs, I've got a fabulous little miniskirt. Thank you kindly. So that tends to protect the top of my legs quite well. And yeah, knee pads, because with a lot of, say, Taylor's 10 lessons and things like that, you like to go for the legs. It's not the safest target because you're reaching down. Trigonometry says that that's a bad idea. You've got to get in closer than if you're cutting straight across. But because it's a bad idea, a lot of people don't expect you to do it. And besides, if you don't wear that sort of protection, then your opponent may feel that, well, it's not an acceptable target, so I'll try not to do it. And the best way to not get hit would be to turn up with no protective gear. The other person is not going to hit you. They're not going to be willing to do that. So it's only right to give them, targets that they can pick.
Yeah. So you learn, don't you? You get hit and you get damage and you get these sore knees and then you get told about the arteries in your legs and if they get cut. So the skirt is that Spez one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that one as well. It works quite well. But I still wear a box and everything. But hey, slight detour there, so let's keep going.
Oh, they both overcooked it there. Like cutting from the wrist is best. That's quite nice.
Well, is that a double? They both got caught then.
So Liam does like a hanging guard. They're very nice for not getting your hand hit if you want your opponent's attack to slide off your blade rather than down to your hilt. There we go.
So he's now lost his forearm.
Another reason for keeping the hand behind your back, you don't want to put it somewhere it's going to get hit.
St. George there.
I don't know. It's a strange guard to take at that time, but then again, don't know why Liam decided to use sort of a spadroon guard. Other than, I say, he does like Ferdinand, and that was nice. So if we go back and have a look at that, that was nice.
Yeah, B almost does need to have his arm strapped to his back there, doesn't he? Let's see if I've
Well,
gone
you
that
do it
far
instinctively, don't you? If you see something coming for your head. There we go. Okay, so once again, B stepped in with a thrust, and A has caught it and gone up, sort of a hanging guard, to cut down across at the head.
So he's hoping for the blade to slide off, go out of arm's way, and then he can
Parry riposte.
Parry riposte, yeah. Must admit, I've not been counting the points here, the hits, so I don't know who's...
Never bother. So that was quite good too. That was just a nice time cut to the top of B's wrist there. Okay, so B stepped forward while still he's got his sword shouldered. So he's moved. He thinks he's far enough away, and if you watch Liam's footwork, right. So he stepped in, and he's pulled his back foot up to his front foot, while keeping low. So he's got more of a lunge. So B here, he's still in this sort of resting guard, because he thinks he's at a safe distance. If you just watch Liam's feet now, he's moved in. You can see how he's pulled both his feet together. So he's got a longer lunge distance, so we can try and get him while he's there, not quite prepared yet with his sword shouldered.
Does his back foot actually go over?
Yeah, his back foot comes up and it touches the back of his front foot. And as he does it, he comes in guard. There we go. And just in case somebody comes straight down at him and then straight in with the cut. So he sort of stepped together, covering himself, and then out with a long lunge to get the cut in. And
that's a consequence of drilling, isn't it? Practice.
Well, yeah, let's say that. There's a few different systems that you'll see that in.
Yeah.
So the Highland broadsword that Liam likes, that does have things like that, where you'll when guarding against a blow, you may, instead of keeping in your stance, you may bring the back foot forward, so that then if your opponent retreats, you've got further to chase them with. You'll then lunge. But there's moves like that where you'll sort of draw yourself up, both feet together with the sword up, ready to make a blow, ready to move, in things like Guelph Dussac. So they'll sort of like bring themselves up, feet together, sword up, and with feet together and sword up, they could go left, they could go right, and make the cut whichever way.
It's not instinctive though, is it? I mean, you do have to drill. You have to make it so it's muscle memory.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Is that the type of thing you do at your club? Did you do lots of that, or do you say, right, no, go away and do your pedal work?
Footwork. I know everyone hates it, but I do love a good bit of footwork.
Yeah.
Because you can cut however way you feel, but if that cut doesn't connect with something, it's wasted. And being able to tell distance and being able to get yourself to that distance at the right time, it's footwork.
So how would you practice your footwork?
Well, with Sabre, there's the specific way of footwork. An exercise that we quite like to do would be Taylor's 10 lessons. And they're like a system of sort of attack and defence against two people that is utilised by both Roworth and Angelo. They both reference Taylor's 10 lessons. And you can start them off in distance, checking that you're both in distance. And the idea is that you cut and you withdraw entirely on the guard. So to what's called position one, you remove the front foot all the way to the back foot, and you're trying to avoid the opponent's blow. So you know if you've got that right or wrong, because you shouldn't get hit. So if it goes entirely to plan, Taylor's 10 lessons, you shouldn't hear any blows land at all. It should end lovely. So it's nice to take those lessons that are all set out and then go, right, let's make them more dynamic because they're just sat still for the moment. So if you start off with two people facing each other, maybe have the blades connected. So Roth says that you know you're in distance if you stood, ready in guard, you hold out your sword, and the baskets, you can touch the basket of your opponent. Or if you take a lunge and cut at the leg and they withdraw, you should be about 4 inches away from their leg. So we can do that to calibrate the distance to begin with, set everybody up. Might go, right, okay, you take the lead, however many steps forward, however many steps back, Taylor's 10 lesson 1. And so if we both shuffle forward, both shuffle back, and we do the lesson, and then test distances, should be good. And we can go like, right, okay, you're now in charge of however many steps forward, however many steps back. Off you go, shuffle, shuffle. Taylor's lesson number 2, and see how it goes. There's little things that you can do like that just to keep it more dynamic than being like a line of footwork and just like keep a distance with me. I'm going to step back. You need to step forward. As I run forward, you need to step back. I mean, that's important. It needs to be done. But it's more fun and more engaging to add a bit of the source material in and combine it.
So you do that for half an hour and then you suddenly go into sparring and it all goes out the window?
Pretty much, yeah. No. We like to emphasise that for the first 15 minutes or so of sparring, because let's be honest, there's two types of people who will do this. It's people who are really interested in the historical source and want to, get it down and nail, and that's really fascinating. And people who like to hit each other.
What camp do you fall in? I'm the latter, I must admit.
I try my best to be halfway in between. So we'll try and convince people for the first 15 minutes of sparring, I want you to try and stay in system. I want to try and keep it exactly as it should be. Don't worry about points. Forget points. But it doesn't matter who's scoring. Just try and stay in system. Try and help your opponent and help yourself by keeping to the system and keeping it. And then, all right, you're getting tired. You're starting to use somebody else's system. It's all going crazy. And have the fun and go crazy. But try and get, try and use what you've learned. Try and use what we've just talked about. Bonus points if you could do that. Excellent. But it's always good to just go, I saw this thing, this Bolognese side saw thing. It's cool and it's completely nuts. I'm totally going to do it. And it's always a laugh when it works because no one expects it.
Have you ever tried or thought about Battle of the Nations, anything like that?
I think we'd all like to run around in a suit of armour at some point, wouldn't we? However, being clobbered unconscious by Russians is probably something I'll give a pass on.
We have a local club here in Rochdale.
Yes. I have looked at it, don't you worry.
The Northern Wolves.
Yeah. They're in Whitworth now, aren't they?
That's the one.
Yeah. I had a look. It's one of them, isn't it? You're tempted. You always want to give it a crack, and then probably will just give it a try. But
incredibly good workout, and the armour that they wear, the protection, is excellent. No swords though, because it just doesn't work against armour, does it? But yeah, it's a whole different thing from HEMA. So to carry on with our video here. It's unfortunate I've cut it short there because they moved across and then they've finished the edit. So I don't know what went wrong.
You gave them more space.
They've moved away there. Okay, well that was great. Any final things about that one?
I think that one, distance is key. So there's a couple of times where it happens when you're knackered, doesn't it? You're just lean the sword on my shoulder. Be right. Give me a second. Don't do that unless you're 100% sure you're far enough away. If in doubt and you're knackered, just haul it straight out at them. Because at least then they've got to do something. They've got to get past the points. They've got to do something about the thing that's pointed at them before they can come and get you.
Let me into a secret now. What's your favourite feint? How do you lure people in?
How do I lure people in? I am a filthy hand sniper, because if you cut the hand, they can't hurt you. It's the nearest bit that they're offering to you, so why not take it?
It's easy with longsword. How do you do it with the Sabre?
There's all sorts of wonderful ways you can do it with Sabre. There's some very, very dirty French ones from Valville. They're beautiful in their simplicity. You just cross with your opponent, and as you cross swords, say on the inside guard, you'd make a cut two just across the top of their arm, just from there, with the wrist.
So that's more of a forearm cut.
Yeah, it's quite sneaky. Quite sneaky. It's just like wander in, join. Oh, nice. But other things to do that are quite good is to feint a cut. So stay exactly where you are. Don't move your feet. Lean and make, say, a cut one just past the bowl of their sword, and then moulinet round into a cut two and with the step. A lot of the times people will instinctively block that cut, which turns and exposes the wrist to the then cut two. Taylor's 10 lessons that I just mentioned. Yes, I love Taylor's 10 lessons. They're so good. Just go and find them. Go and find them and have a laugh at them. Because they're just really good. You can do it on your own. You can do it with two people. Very good. Very solid. Give you some basis and things to do. But I think lesson number 4 has a nice hand snipe. You start on the inside guard, and you make a feint so that your opponent changes to outside guard. And as they turn to the outside guard, you then step in and cut 3 at the wrist. And cut 3, it's a lovely cut. You'll see plenty of it in the next bout.
Oh, right. So Taylor's 10 lessons, just doing a standard Google, we'll be able to find that.
Oh yeah, Taylor's 10 lessons.
So if I manage to find a link, I'll write that in the description below.
If you can't find it, just Googling it. AHF will have it somewhere because Nick Thomas loves it.
They're a really good source of Sabre videos. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you again. We'll now move on to number 3.
move on.
I'll end this video here, and then we move across. And if you want to see more, just pop on to the next one. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Head over to the next review video or leave a question in the comments below.